What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another SBT video in playoffs season 7. We're going to be looking over the first match played in our 5 divisions, which has Electric facing off against Olli. Now these two coaches, they ended up being, I believe, the 4th or 5th seed, so it's a pretty strong matchup for these two. I don't believe they played in the regular season. They might have, but I know Olli replaced probably mid-season and made it all the way into playoffs. So congrats to him. Electric also had a rough start, but also made into playoffs. These two coaches, I believe, they actually earned their way into playoffs. So it should be an interesting matchup. Obviously, in front of you guys, I have the matchup. You can see Electric's team. I don't really have to read it off for you. And then you have Olli's team on the other side. Both teams look very ferocious. They have strong offense, and then they have some nice bulky pivots on either end. Olli with that mega slow bro. You got the Hippowdon, the Heatran, the Como, and the Florges on the other side. Vaporeon and Florges kind of helping out the team with Cleric support. So obviously, looking at the team matchup, I won't get too much into it because I do have the replay, which I haven't watched yet. I'm actually recording this before watching it, so it'd be more of a live reaction kind of thing since I didn't get to watch it in live. So obviously, the Tornadus on Electric's end looks very, very threatening. So it can be one of a couple of things, nasty plot to kind of break down Olli's team mid to late game, or it can actually just be a pivot, which also helps to maybe taunt the Slowbro. Also could be something to just U-turn out. Maybe it's Life Orb, you never know, but the Tornadus is always just a good bring in general. You can have Heat Wave, Hurricane, could be nasty plot like I said, but Taunt is also a nice option just in case if it he wants to stop webs from Olli's end without Galvantula, stuff like that. When it comes to Olli's side, he has a very strong offensive breaker in Urshifu single, which doesn't outspeed Tornadus, unfortunately, or Zarude, but either way, it could be Scarf. It doesn't outspeed the Gengar, which Gengar could have Dazzling Gleam or something like that. Florges could come. Florges really needs to be physically defensive. I think even physically defensive, Florges gets 2-hit KO by Poison Jab, but I'm not here to run those calcs. So the Powdon is also a nice bring if he feels like rocks and sand kind of help it and benefit him. Electric would have to he would have to bring a lot of Volcans to make sure that Urshifu single doesn't take control of the match. Anyways, when it comes to the 6 that each of them would bring, sometimes it's pretty clear that the top 6 are the most likely, but with Olli having the Slowbro, the Rotom actually seems like a decent bring, especially with that Celesteela in the back as well. Could be a possibility because his Ghost Stab is also nice for that Decidueye against the Alakazam, against the Slowbro, that kind of stuff. So could be a nice bring. And the Como could also be set up as well. It might be special, more special on the specially defensive, to hit on the specially defensive side because Olli has that Mega Slowbro. In any case, I think we've talked about the matchup quite a bit. I think they both have a decent matchup against each other. And it just comes to what they ended up bringing. So let's take a look at the matchup. As you can see, so it does look like Electric does bring that Rotom, and it was kind of no surprise. Its stab is very nice against most of Olli's team. The Miltank and the Rhyperior are there to kind of make sure it doesn't go rampant with maybe like Specs, Trick, or Willow or something like that, but who knows, we'll have to see. He does bring that Barbaracle, which I'm interested to see if it's something like Shell Smash, or it could be some kind of utility, but we do have Hippowdon in the back there, and then obviously you have a couple of pivoters with Zarude and whatnot. So Ollie's team looks Pretty scary for the first three there. You know, the Alakazam, the Urshifu, and the Celesteela. Rhyperior could just be utility here, but Miltank is also there to set up rocks if need be. And obviously Decidueye is Ollie's only defogger, so it could be used that way. But it doesn't really look like Ollie's team is too weak to hazards in the first place. So that's a nice thing to have on Ollie's end. Where it comes to electric, it looks like his endgame might just be Gengar. I don't see Barbaracle having the opportunity to set up here, but he could. He definitely could. He could set up on things like the Miltank potentially if it doesn't have Thunder Wave, and maybe the Celesteela. It's definitely tough to find the right place to set up Zarude. In my opinion, it has to kind of be very offensive to even dent that Celesteela, but we'll see what he actually is. So let's get into the match. Let's see what they both lead up with, and then we can go from there. I'll try and be quick as the game goes. I might even put it on slow so I can commentate at the same time. Let's see what they do. So it does look like Electro wants to lead that Rotom. A very good lead. Obviously, he can pivot out with a Volt Switch. Doesn't really have to predict too much, but he does end up predicting maybe the right period to come in, so he goes for that Willow. And obviously, Ollie wants to get up these rocks right away. We do see a Body Slam, so we know this thing's scrappy. And actually, this Rotom is more of a utility set with you know, he has Willow and a Fog. So okay, so very nice. We've crippled the Miltank. I don't know if it has Heal Bell or not. Maybe not. I think it would have actually gone for it. But we do see another Defog here, so I'm guessing maybe Electric's still trying to scout, see what Ollie's plays are, especially when he has a more defensive set in front of him. A big Poltergeist coming off of that Decidueye, dealing some massive damage to Tornadus. Now that's a very aggressive tactic, but worked out in his favor. Got some nice chunk of damage off of that Tornadus. Tornadus is very, very necessary for Electric's endgame, I feel. So obviously a Rotom threatens out that Rhyperior now and gets another Willow off. Ollie making a very aggressive play and going for the Focus Blast. I don't know how necessary that was. Maybe expecting the Zarude to come in, but he could have honestly waited on that. It doesn't look like he scouted the Zarude coming in, and that cost him his Alakazam. Rotom just going for that big Hex. Ollie seems to really want to pressure Electric with the Poltergeist Decidueye in the back, knowing that Ghost is a very nice, strong stab against him. He does have the Zarude. Zarude comes in now. And we do see the sub Celesteela, so we'll have to see what kind of set this is. It doesn't even break the sub, and this might be bad going forward for Electric. It does seem like this Zarude is a more bulkier set with leftovers. We do see another Lariat coming off. It does pitiful damage to the Urshifu, and now Electric has to assume that this might be Scarf. Even if it's not Scarf, it could be dealing a lot of damage. So we do see the Rocky Helmet from Hippo. Makes a lot of sense to get some chip off on this thing, but if it was up to me, that could feel like banded damage. I'm not too sure, but it looks like Ollie bluffed that very well, and now he has to retreat as you know, Electric brings back in the Zarude. Some nice damage off on that Miltank. He could continuously go for those or start getting some momentum. He actually chooses to a very interesting play there. Ollie predicting anything, but he goes for a Thunder Wave, which would have been very nice on this Tornadus. Missing it, that definitely hurts, especially since Ollie's in the back end here. And Tornadus was able to regenerate some more after coming in and dodging that Thunder Wave. In comes the Rotom. And we know that Rotom, he could just sit in here, but it's nice to just Volt Switch out and get some momentum on his side, get some more regeneration on this Tornadus. Ollie's kind of losing momentum, just leaving this Miltank in. He could set up rocks here, but there is the taunt. We did assume that taunt would be coming from Tornadus, but it could mean that he's not actually Nasty Plot, which might actually be a little bit better for Ollie. We do see the knockoff there, so of course this is more of a utility-based Tornadus, and there's the Thunder Wave, or sorry, the Paralysis that we were expecting from Olli in the first place. And now Tornadus just U-turns out, gains back some health, and now we see Electric going to the Barbarical, probably to set up, but we do actually see a liquidation instead. It's Life Orb actually, so I don't know if he plans to set up with it. I don't know what Electric's endgame looks like so far. It might have to be that Gengar, but we know that the Urshifu in the back might still pack the Sucker Punch. So we see the Rindo getting knocked off there from Rhyperior. So if this Tornadus was packing the Grass Knot, wouldn't be as useful right here. 2 paralysis in a row, very unfortunate. And you know, Olli missed a Rock Blast earlier on and only got the 2 rolls this time. Electric knows that he needs to kind of break this sub. I don't know if he really wanted to break it with this. This Tornadus would have been very useful, but I guess with the Rhyperior and the very defensive Miltank, he kind of thought it was fruitless, especially with the set that he brought. So down goes to that Tornadus, which would have been very nice in the late game. But we do see the Rotom coming back in. We know that it's you can easily burn this thing and then just go for a Hex and do a bunch of other things. It does get Toxic, so this Rhyperior was supposed to be sub-toxic with Rindo. Very interesting set. I don't know how it was planning on beating the Zarude, but probably had Earthquake as the last move. Otherwise, Barbarical really just set up on it. So it looks like Electric just lets this Rotom go down, unfortunately. So now Celesteela is going to be a very big hindrance to Electric's team. You know, Olli brings it in here. He could have actually waited on that, but he brings it in and obviously takes minimal damage from that. I think Ollie's still trying to scout exactly what Electric's planning here, because if Olli was packing something like Air Slash, it would have been dealing some decent damage to this Zarude. Let's see if Olli goes into the Urshifu right here. He does in fact go for that, and I don't know if he wants to go for a U-turn. It could be doing a lot of damage. Instead, he goes for the close combat. Now Gengar could come in here. I know that Olli, you know, he pretty much sacrificed this Urshifu to get rid of that Zarude, and Decidueye actually wants to take this very big hit, which I don't know if that was a misplay, but I would have just let the Urshifu go down there unless he had the Sucker Punch. So in comes the Celesteela right now. This is going to be dealing some decent damage, not in range of 2-hit KO, unfortunately. EQ obviously will be able to take out the Gengar right after. This might actually be the end of the match now, since we're going to be seeing the Barbarical come in, and we know it's Life Orb, and we know it's not going to be able to outspeed the Urshifu, and we also know that a Banded Close Combat is going to be coming right after. So it's going to be the game for Olli. He definitely preserved what he needed to in the late game. I think Electric might have let a few things drop too early. Also, the sets that he brought might have not been the most accurate, but it was definitely a good game on both of them. You know, I think they brought interesting sets. Olli didn't really get to use that Alakazam as much as he wanted to, as much as it would have done. I think it was probably locked into a Focus Blast, or Olli was just trying to gain some momentum by predicting with it. But letting it drop early on, he kind of had to, you know, use the lesser of his tools in Decidueye and Rhyperior to wear down the rest of Electric's team, and Urshifu could clean up after that. So good game to both coaches. It looks like Olli proceeds to the second round of playoffs in Challengers Division. Look forward to more videos, guys. This was probably a longer one considering how much commentary I was doing. Anyways, guys, I think that's going to be it, and yeah, take it easy.